Welcome to Storyteller, a profile series highlighting the dreams, journeys, and achievements of our students, alumni, and supporters, presented by Doyon Foundation. Jung Guinzi, very happy to have you here with us and sharing a bit of your story with our Storyteller series. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Uza is Loretta Lolnitz. Ethel Esmailka Senior sa Ita nila Ethel Dayton Esmailka ina nila Andrew Esmailka Sitsia nila Rosie Cleaver Esmailka Sitsu nila Albert Dayton Sitsia nila Esther Petka Dayton Sitsu nila Menil Gatsata Koyukon Hotana.
And you can share your name and introduction in English. Where you grew up? You grew up in Koyukon?
Yes, I did. My name is Loretta Lolnitz, and I was born and raised in Koyukon. And I am Koyukon Athabaskan, and I am a part of the Doyon Foundation Native Language Mentor Apprentice Program.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think it's important to learn your language as an apprentice? Who's your mentor?
My mentor is Ethel Esmailka, my mother, my Ina.
And why do you feel it's important to learn Denaakk'e?
Because it's ours. We own it, and it's a diminished language. And I want to learn it.
That's awesome. So how's it been going? What is the MAP is your 1-year program, and how's it been going so far since you just started in September, is it?
Yeah, we met in August here, and then we started early September, and it's been really interesting to try to drag the back of my throat and to use my tongue. That's tough. I have to keep doing it, and it makes my mom laugh when I keep trying. She doesn't, she does not get impatient. She just says, you'll get it.
Awesome. Yeah, it takes different speech muscles to speak Denaakk'e than English. Same with Koyukon, same in my language. What's a typical week when you and your mom meet? Are there other people that join as well, or are you just the two of you? How often during the week would you meet?
We would start early in the week, like Monday or Tuesday in the evenings, because I work a full-time job. And sometimes my grandson, Ramy, would sit with us and just listen. My sister Vera is now making it a point to try to drop in. She finds it really interesting. She's 2 years younger than me. Most often it's my mom and I that does it in her home. Yeah, in my mother's home.
How do you structure things? Like, what sorts of goals and things you want to learn? Have you kind of laid it out, or do you agree beforehand, or think about it?
We laid it out for the first 3 lessons. so to speak. We're in the third one now, but we've laid that out when we first started. And the traditional visit was the first one. And because we went into the moose season, the parts on a moose was the second one. Now we're into the third one, and that's introduction of me. And when I feel comfortable enough to get into my great-grandparents, it's going to take research, then we will make the next 3 lessons. And for me, that's fine. It's my mom who wants to do it that way because she has to think about what it is that she wants me to know too. And we do follow the sample lessons book. We really like that book. It gives us incentive to say, hey, you want to try this one? Or would you like to do something different? And like, for example, you know, the moose season was just there, and the moose was there. And Mom said, if and when we have luck, we're going to do moose parts. So that's how it went.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to say when we get a moose, but you say if have luck.
Yeah, if we have luck.
Yeah.
That's how she said it.
Yeah.
You know, I would have to be reminded. You know, otherwise.
Yeah. So, what have you found most challenging as you're learning?
Well, lack of other elders in our village. And there's only Eliza and Ben and Mom that are fluent in Koyukon.
Wow.
That's a really huge challenge. I mean, I just can't go up to somebody and say, I'm taking this course and I don't know if I'm saying it, and Mom wants me to find out if I'm going in the correct direction with this sentence. It's different. Yeah, that's a challenge. And I would have to do it on the weekend or at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, were there many other elders who were speaking in Koyukon?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I could remember just sitting there and listening to them.
Huh. Did you understand what they were talking about? Or?
You know, I don't know. I really don't know. I know that when I went into my grandparents, my dad's parents, they were old. I didn't know they were old, but I was like maybe 6 or 7. And Grandma Tondina would tell me, Lida, and I would sit on this gasoline box, and she would put this little cup, a really pretty fancy cup with a saucer, and she would put that there, and she would tell me, chai is this, drink tea. She would tell me that. That memory came back when we were doing the traditional visit. The first lessons we did, I told Mom, I remember Grandma putting that I remember this Chinese, this, I remember hearing it, and wow, you know, and they were already old, so they could not speak clear English, you know, my grandparents, my dad's parents, yeah. And I remember them. I remember Denaakk'e language being spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All over the village,
all
different
over.
elders. Yeah. The traditional visit, that's a cultural Well, how would you describe that, or do you feel okay sharing?
Yeah, I really found this one, I mean, right off the bat, this whole language thing has been interesting to me. Mom said when they get visitors, and she learned this as a young girl too, people would come into the house and they would talk about the weather. And then they would talk about drinking tea or coffee. And then they would talk about food. Every time a visitor came in, food was offered to them. It didn't matter what, if it was just crackers and fish and tea. But that was done every time. And I remember when people came in, and I remember when they would talk in Denaakk'e, but I'm not clear about what was said, you know. Yeah.
It's good that you have those memories and they're kind of coming back as you're working with your mom and speaking, learning the language.
Yeah, yeah. And I never knew that was the practice until we actually did it. Because at my house we would say, you want some tea or some coffee, you know, or if we're eating, would you want to eat some food? You know, that's how we said it. But not Denaakk'e-wise. Yeah.
Nice. So what have you found most enjoyable so far? What are you looking forward to learning coming up?
I learned to sing Denaakk'e songs from my village before I knew what I was singing about. One of the most exciting things for me is to know what I'm singing. And you know, it never occurred to me to know what I'm singing until I got into this program. And someone said to me, if you're going to sing your own songs, then you need to know what you're singing about. And I find that really exciting. I find it really exciting because I already can sing it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So there's the Mentor Apprentice Program. Are there other types of language activities or classes or like culture camp or anything else you are working on with the language? You're here in Fairbanks visiting, and is there any part of that gathering that's with language? Or?
Yeah. Yesterday morning when we were opening up the gathering, Tisha is the moderator. And she said, Mendon, Sauza. Good morning, Saganaka. Good morning, my friend. And Mom and I never said that yet, you know. So I sat there and I thought, darn it, she got me beat on that one. I was speaking to myself, you know, but at the same time, she said it so clearly, and she asked people to say it back to her in whatever they had, Gwich'in, maybe, Bente, maybe, Digaton. You know, there's lots of different, there's a variety of Athabascans there.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting. I wrote that on my agenda to say this morning. I was ready this morning. Very interesting. Yeah, and then the net making portion of the gathering that I took, I asked different people about the tools. What's this tool, and what's this tool, and how do you say fishnet? Just fishnet. And so I had help putting it in my notebook on my phone, the correct way to spell it, and I really appreciated that. And the thing is that one word was explained to me from the Caltag area. Another word was explained to me from the Hughes area, and then Tristan typed in, and Kimberly typed in, and so I learned on my phone. I didn't even know you can drag that L.
Oh yeah.
And do that. I learned that. And I'm glad for that. So lessons learned.
Yeah.
You know, my mind is going towards, because there's so many Athabascans there. I'm just keeping an open mind. You know, if I get one from Hughes, wow, you know,
Yeah.
even though they may say it a little different.
A friend of mine's in the same workshop, and he's Deketan, and was able to understand the Denaakk'e prayer that was being shared, and he said, yeah, it's just a little bit different.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, a Degaton guy
Yeah.
did a prayer song this morning. Yeah.
That was probably George.
It was beautiful. He did
yeah.
such a beautiful job. Oh.
Are there any words of advice you might have for other learners, or words of encouragement?
It doesn't have to be the big things. It can be the little things too. That it's a growing experience, because for me it's like eating. I'm getting my cup full.
Oh, nice.
You know, inside me it feels good. You know, just a word. And to be brave enough to reach out to somebody else. I go back to the conversation Bertina and I had. We're not alone in wanting to be fully Athabascan. Yeah.
That's beautiful, thank you. Are there any words that have stood out for you that you've learned and would like to share with others? We might use it for the native word of the month.
Yeah, Bagush.
Bagush.
Yeah, Nick. And when Mom said, okay, we have the moose now, I have this, she tore out a moose photo out of the TCC calendar. I don't even know from what year, but she said, we're going to go over this and write it down. And there's going to be lots of parts, so you need to write it down. So to the best of my ability, I point to a part, or she'd point to a part, and she'd say, this is. And, but she would say, this is Denaakk'e Benina, Denaakk'e Benina, moose back, Denaakk'e Saya, moose heart. And then she got to the neck and she said, Denaakk'e Bagush. And this old memory just popped up in me when I was a little girl. I would sit around where, you know, like my grandparents, my grandpa, my dad, and all my uncles and stuff. Well, they would talk and they'd laugh in Denaakk'e, and they'll say, Bagush, I got you by the Bagush. And when Mom said that, I remember that, and I never knew that it meant I got you by the neck. Yeah, now I know. Yeah, that was something that stood out to me.
Nice.
Yeah. The other thing was when I have 4 sons, and the youngest one, I gave him a Denaakk'e name, Oich.
Snowshoe.
Oich Gedzaya. Snowshoe heart. It's that little pattern that crisscrosses all over on the snowshoe. And it almost looks like a heart. So that's the name of that little part. And I did not say it right. So when I went and I saw Eliza, and I told her, I want to give my youngest son this Denaakk'e name because it's something I know. I was a snowshoe racer for 20 years, and one of the things I learned were the parts on the snowshoes, and I loved that little Oich Gedzaya. That's how I was saying it. Well, Eliza corrected me and said it's Oich Zaya. So she wrote it down in her journal of Denaakk'e names of people in Koyukon.
That seems like a good name for someone if you're wanting them to be a good hunter, using the snowshoes out on the land.
Yeah, and he uses snowshoes. He owns his own. We all own our own. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, anything else you'd like to share with us today?
I just know that I feel really blessed to be a part of this Mentor Apprentice Program, and I'm glad it was offered, and I'm glad my mom and I are able to do it. She likes it, and she said, I'm also remembering. So it's a fantastic program. I can see it blossoming out to whoever, you know. And so I just want to say thank you. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time and for joining us today. I wish you the best in your future learning with your mom and sharing that joy and love with others. Masicho anabasi.
All
right. For more Storyteller profiles, visit doyanfoundation.com/storyteller.